Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to an all-new Season 3 of the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by the Buzz Conference and Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. Now, make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference by visiting their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, or by following them on Instagram at the Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all the awesome events that they are hosting, including these three. Number 1, Copywriting for Real Estate on May 14th. Number 2, Buzz Western Canada Connect and Collaborate on May 27th. And number 3, Luxury Connect and Recreation Investment Mixer on June 10th. These events are always loaded with value, so be sure to follow the Buzz Conference to stay in the know. And of course, Kits is always with us. Kits offers a fully loaded cross-channel marketing suite for the real estate industry, including tools to help you manage your business, build mindshare, and drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on Marketing. I also want to share that we are working to get to 100 reviews on iTunes, and I want you to be a part of it. If you already have, thank you. And, well, if you have not, please take 2 minutes, go to iTunes, rate the show, and leave a review. It is that easy. And again, thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 128. She's the broker of record and co-owner of On The Block Realty, as well as co-founder of On The Block Auctions, 2 real estate companies operating in the Greater Toronto Area. Together with her partner and husband, they run their boutique brokerage with a focus on support, mentorship, and accountability with their growing team of agents. Ever since starting her career 11 years ago, she knew there were opportunities to bring more innovation, transparency, and collaboration to the industry, and through building On The Block brand, she's had the opportunity to bring her vision to life. She also hosts a weekly podcast for the real estate industry called Level Up, where her and her partner chat about relevant topics to realtors and help them create systems that will support them in building a successful real estate career that speaks to their individual interests and motivations. As a board member with the Real Estate Council of Ontario and a committee member with RECO's Education Committee, she has had the opportunity to work alongside industry members throughout Ontario to help support consumers working with members of the profession. On a personal side, she's a mom of 4, she loves to run, and recently completed her first marathon and is slightly obsessed with listening to podcasts and audiobooks. This week on the show, I am joined by broker of record and co-owner of On The Block Realty, Katie Steinfeld. Katie, welcome to the Mindshare Podcast.
Thank you for having me. We finally are here. I'm so excited.
I know. I gotta say, I was nervous for a minute there. I was thinking to myself, like, is Facebook? Is it Zoom? Who is it?
I know. This is the world we live in now. It's like, this is the technology we have to deal with sometimes, but we made it. It's great.
For real, right? And it's one of those two where it's like, you're looking going, okay, what's going on? Which one's wrong? And I've had these issues before where we go live, but then something doesn't connect properly. And now you're fumbling around going, what's up?
I know.
But look, there's a cool message in this. There's a cool message on 2 fronts. One, consistency. So having done it time and time again gives you lots of opportunity to make a lot of mistakes and then learn from those mistakes.
Exactly.
The other side to that as well is persistence. And it's that idea of, no matter what happens, no matter, what you're faced with, be persistent and things will happen for you. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Here we are. So I as you know, and for everybody else out there, I completely stole your podcast name for the episode, like the title of today's episode. But I want to tie that all together because I want to use our time here together today, which I've spent, the first like 2/3 like bumbling on technology. But no, I want to spend our time here today together, seriously, for everybody that's listening, for everybody that's tuned in, to truly help them level up their business.
Yeah.
And first off, tell us more about you. Like, I just mentioned 11 years selling, 4 kids, which again, I don't know how you're doing it at home. I got 2, you've got 4, they're all young, but sticking to business.
Yeah.
When did you decide to get into, never mind just real estate, but sort of go boutique, like as opposed to like just doing something that's sort of normal?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I decided to get into the industry after having my first daughter. I was on maternity leave. I knew I didn't want to go back to a 9-to-5 full-time job, but I did want something for myself. And real estate really just spoke to me. And from there, I just built my career. In terms of growing my own boutique brokerage, I thought that there was just so much opportunity in this industry to build better connections with the people that you work with. And there's so much to say. There's so much importance that I think should be placed on collaboration and working together with the people that are closest to you, and how that really levels everybody up around you. So that's kind of what we pride ourselves on within our brokerage and also within the industry. I think there's so many amazing groups like yours, David. Like, you've got such a great community and just amazing Facebook groups out there that I just really encourage anybody, if it's not within your brokerage, it can be anywhere. And as long as you surround yourself by people that are similar mindsets to you, wanting to build up their business, you're going to do really well.
That's the thing too. And we were talking about that before we went on air around like building culture. And I actually said like that was something that you have a unique ability to do of because it's not this big, massive hundreds and hundreds of people and all these different people in different places all the time. But you've built an amazing community yourself as well, is taking that and going, we're really going to create a culture here. And here's how we want to do it. And that idea of leveraging each other, that idea of being there for each other, that's huge, especially in today's world right now, where we're so many people completely isolated from seeing people as we normally would, getting into our own mental state of minds that is tough to get out of. And I'll say, speaking at least for us folks that are here in Toronto, I don't think we've seen the sunshine in the past 2 weeks, so it's also something to be said about just not getting the sun, right? But tell me this, what's your big, what's your big MO? Like, for getting new business or for getting any business, what is your MO? Like, which audience are you focused on every day? Is it people you know or people you don't know? And which group really delivers the majority of your business?
Yeah. If I were to trace back my business, it would trace back to probably 10 people in my career, because there's so many, it stems, right? And now where I am in my business is I have the opportunity. I feel so lucky and blessed to be able to work with people that are referred to me or repeat business. And it is a dream because they're people that I love, that I get along with, that I connect with. And maybe not most importantly, but even just as important is they respect the work that I do and the value that I have and that I bring to them. So many people will say, and I think anybody that's listening who has worked with repeat clients or people that they referred, those people don't even know how they could find a house or sell their house without you, because they just really it's a very mutual respect that you have with each other. And that's where I get most of my business now. And I've tried the online lead thing, and I know a lot of people love it, and it's just not for me. But I think everybody has their own way of getting business. For me, I just love working with people that I've worked with before or people that are similar and get referred to me.
Now, tell me this, broker owner and being in the business 11 years now. And yes, there are a lot of people that they'll try to go online for this stuff. And then there's other people that work their database. There's some people that do a mix of both. And there's all sorts of other ideas that you can do out there. And everything has some merit to it. But when you look at your database, and then you look at your agents, and you sort of look at call it, let's say the group of agents that maybe not even isolated to your brokerage, so we don't just kind of pinpoint, but in general speaking, when you're talking to colleagues, especially people that you have got some stuff in common, would you say that if the topic comes up, oftentimes, again, most of them will say their business comes from referral and repeat, or is their business come from somewhere else? What kind of other things are you hearing out there?
I think it's all over the place. And I think that's one important thing is that every agent is different, and we need to you have to create a system for yourself that works for you. We've got agents working in our brokerage that love cold calling, that love the thrill of the chase, right? And they want nothing to do with social media. Whereas there's other agents who are on Instagram all the time, connecting with people through direct message. And that's where they're getting their business. So it's really a mix, but I think it's important for any realtor, whether you're just getting into the business or you've been in it for a while, you have to base your activities on things that drive you, that motivate you, that really get you going every single day. Like if you hate cold calling, you're going to drag yourself out of bed every single day. And it's going to show in the way that you're interacting with the people that you actually do connect with. So if that's not for you, that's cool. There's so many other opportunities and ways to connect with people out there. So find that thing that really drives you and stay consistent and persistent, as we talked about before.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So here a question then. I'm a new agent.
Yeah.
We're not going to say brand spanking new. Like I've been in the biz maybe a year, 2 years, but newish. I'm doing well. But I want to step it up. I want to get to that next level. What's the first place that I should be looking in my business for where to adjust? And how would you suggest that I do that?
I mean, I think number one, the first thing we always tell our own realtors in our brokerage is get a CRM, please. If anything else, you need it, because even if it's an Excel spreadsheet to start you off, because you can always import later and down the road when you want to have something that's more intense, but that is how you're going to keep your connections and not forget about anybody that you're coming in contact with. And when you're starting out, leverage the people that you know. Everybody has at least 50 people on Facebook. I would imagine more, but let's just be conservative. That's 50 people that you can connect with and have a conversation. And I'm not saying like send the message out, like if you're thinking of buy or selling, I'm here, like connect with them, have that relationship. You stop that conversation, put something in your CRM and touch base with them again in another month. It's not hard, but I find that because we don't put the systems of our business in place before we start the work, everybody wants to start the work before we have the systems to really protect our business. And so I think a lot of people, when they're first starting out, just need to take a step back. I know it's exciting when you first get your license, like I just want to start selling, but try to set up your systems a little bit beforehand, and you'll find that the work and the business will grow that much quicker afterwards.
Okay. I love that. So let's talk systems for a second then. If we say setting up your systems, well, you said CRM.
Yeah.
Is that to you like the entirety of the system essentially for a moment?
In terms of building your business, I think that's a great start, and to build the relationships. Yep. The other parts of your system are listing presentation, buyer presentation. We're doing all of these things online. And so we really need them to be visual so that you can present them with confidence to your clients when you're online doing a Zoom meeting or whatever it is. Just those two things. I remember starting my career, and for the first 5 years, I never had a set listing presentation. I was always scrambling at the last minute, trying to put things together. Just have something in place. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be using that specifically when you're doing listing presentations. It's about the connection, but having that backup will give you the confidence you need when that seller asks you, okay, show me a bit of your marketing, or what do you do with social media, or whatever question you have, you're showing them as opposed to just starting to tell them and make it seem like it might not even be something that you do. The proof is so important for anybody wanting to do business for you.
Okay, so but looking at systems, then it would be around, creating a database and knowing who your audience is. Mm-hmm. You bring up the listing presentation and having something prepared, or even if you're talking to buyers, having something prepared. Yeah. And I would go backwards for a second there. And again, to what you said about setting up the CRM, I mean, that's where for me, it's a big deal, because that's where we get the people from. Right? That's where they come from to have the opportunity for the buying, the selling side, whatever side you're on. It's working the database, right? And then doing the follow-up. And this is where we see a lot of fall off is I meet you, I put you in the database, maybe I don't put the notes in about what we talked about. I don't schedule the next touch point with you. And then I say to somebody on the phone one day, well, I've had them in my list for like 4 years, but I've never spoken to them. And I said that to somebody today. And one of my coaching guys, I'm like, that's your fault.
Yeah.
She's like, I know. I'm like, yeah, like totally your fault. So like pick up the phone and call. But what do I say? Tell them you made a mistake. You haven't spoken to them, right? Let me ask you. And I ask everybody this, right? For anybody that you haven't thought about or haven't spoken to in a while, but you know them, do you know if they recently bought or sold? No. Do you know if they're on the verge of buying and selling? No. So why wouldn't you pick up the phone and make the phone call right now?
Just talk to them. I mean, everything flows back to real estate. Like just talk to them, ask them how they're doing, have the conversation. How are the kids? How is the job? How is whatever? Something is going to connect back to real estate. If they know you're in the business, they're going to ask you about it. How's the market? There you go. Start talking.
Totally. Okay. So here's the thing then. We know that follow-up is a sore point for many in this game because we just don't do a good enough job of doing it.
Yeah.
But there's also a massive complaint around time. And when you bring up CRM, and I'm going to, echo my words from probably every 128 episodes of this podcast so far, a proper CRM is going to have your contact list. It's going to have your calendar and it's going to have marketing attached to it so that it can do some stuff for you in the background while you're out doing what you do. Right.
Yeah.
But again, a calendar being a real important piece of it. And lots of times people believe that their smartphone is smart enough to be their calendar. And I would argue the fact that that's not enough. It'll work, but it's not enough because it doesn't connect you to the contact list. And if it does, and you say, well, I can invite a contact from my phone book to my calendar, where do you track the notes of the birthday and the history and all the other stuff you've talked about? The next touch points, like it doesn't come together the right way.
No.
So the first thing being, get a CRM. I love that. So now we go to that point though, but I don't have enough time to do the follow-up, Katie. Like I know you said to call them, but I'm busy. I'm really busy. I'm dealing with the listing right now. We hear it all the time, which drives me crazy because it's like, okay, so you're in the middle of eating right now. Yeah. But you're not worried about your next meal. I didn't think about it that way. Okay, cool. So when we look at the fact that there's so much to do in this business and we look at the fact of, how many hats we wear, and that is a reality. I got that.
Yeah.
How do you manage time to get it all done? Because podcast, auction, real estate company, broker of record, actually working, 4 kids. I got 2. You got 4. Like, greatest thing in the world.
It is. Yeah. It's hard. Trust me. I get it. Like, I can tell you it's easier said than done. I can spew out all this advice to you and you can say, yeah, that makes sense. But in reality, your kid might get sick or, something disastrous happens with a deal that you've got going on. I get it. But at the end of the day, this business is all about relationships. If you are not connecting with people every single day, you are not going to get the business that you want to be getting. All of the other stuff, social media is great. But a lot of us spend way too much time trying to get that perfect post out there or that perfect video that really ends up only getting a little bit of engagement because we put way too much thought into it. If you just set a goal for yourself and start small, like say, I'm going to reach out to three new people every single day and put them in my CRM and establish a follow-up plan for them. If you do that, I guarantee you in 3 months' time, your business is going to be doing so much better than it is right now.
Yeah, but I just want it now. I don't want to wait 3 months. Like I just want the deal today.
I know. And that is another thing that a lot of people say, but this is not a quick, this doesn't happen quickly. You've got to build it up from there. And it's amazing how quickly it does happen if you stay consistent. But the reason why people fall off is because they think that it should be happening in a week or a month from now, when in reality, your business, if you've got the systems going, you're talking 6 months to a year. I'm not saying you're not going to not get business in that amount of time, but that's when your business will really start churning and getting that, the wheels in motion for you to have a very consistent business for yourself.
Well, it's amazing because this word consistency just keeps consistently coming up today.
I know.
But it's so true though.
Yeah.
Right. You look at any machine, you press the button and it does the exact same thing that it's supposed to do time and time again until maybe it burns out or dies out or whatever, but it just does it. Mm-hmm. And it was built a certain way. And when we look at ourselves and we go, well, we aren't robots. We will get tired. We will need rest. We will need more energy, whatever it be. The reality is, when you think about it kind of like a machine, we're building a machine, right? And if you set up the right systems, and I will say, and I'll say exactly what you're saying there, CRM is the thing. This is it, right? Because time management, contact management, when do I have to talk to people management, personal life management, like it all happens in that system. Once you start churning, and it starts churning, just like you said, you will see business. It'll come.
Yeah.
And then much the same too, when you have those shitty days where you're like, oh, the world is just not working for me. Recognize it's just a day. Maybe it's just a couple days. Maybe it's a week, but it's a moment in time.
Yeah.
And because you've built the machine and it turns, it's going to produce something down the road.
Yeah.
You just got to have the patience.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think anybody that's watching or has been in this industry for a while, and you do see that. It's like a turnover. Your past clients, they're likely buying every 2 to 5 years. And so if you keep in touch with them, they're going to think of the last person they spoke to as a realtor in order to give them their business. And so if you're not there, if you're not top of mind for them, we can't get offended if we haven't been in touch with that person for 5 years. And trust me, I've done it. And I've kicked myself many times for being like, crap, I should have kept in touch with them. That would have been so easy. We had a great connection, but I lost connection. And so they moved on to the last person they spoke to. And that's
But are you suggesting then that I should just call people to say like, hi?
Maybe.
but how am I supposed to get a deal out of that?
I know. Well, that's the other thing, right? Like we're constantly thinking, if you stop thinking about business for the conversations that you have, the conversation is just going to flow so much more naturally, and you're going to appear a lot less rigid, and it's just going to be fluid and feel like you're just talking to a friend. That's all you need to do. You go into a listing presentation, talk to them as if they're your friend. Don't be so nervous. It's all about trying to connect with them. And so I know it's easy, but I understand it's hard as well. So
no, but yeah. And you said that very, very, very perfectly. I don't even know if I'm saying that properly. But that's the truth, right? Like it is so much easier than we make it out to be, but we get this pressure and we kind of psych ourselves into this thing of like, oh my God, I've got to come out with that. So I'm just going to focus on that. And if we don't come out with that, we feel very defeated.
Yeah.
When we go into it, because we're always thinking about that, we're not on the ball the way we should be.
Right. Or we're treating it as if this is the last opportunity I have to go into a listing presentation. And if I lose this, the world is going to fall apart. And it's like, no, you're going to go on to your next one probably in a week from now, and you'll be fine. And so, and you know what? When I lose a listing presentation, the amount of experience and just knowledge I gain from that one time, I know I could have done better. I know I could have said something different. I wasn't connecting them with them on the level that I should have. All of these things you'll take with you to your next listing presentation, and then you're going to kill it because now you've learned from the mistakes that you've made. So try to take as much as possible from the losses, because I find that's far more valuable for you and your business than anything else.
Well, I put that out there recently, right? Like I win or I learn, I never lose.
Yeah.
I was explaining to Joshua last night, my 10-year-old.
I have a Joshua too.
Yeah, he's a baseball player. He's a hockey player. But, I tell him and his team, and I brought it back up to him last night, just when Vladdy Guerrero, Blue Jays, he went up to bat, and they show the average across the bottom of the screen, right? They show you stats. And I talk to the baseball team all the time because these are young guys, 10 years old. All they want to do is they want to go hit the ball when they step up to the plate. They want to hit the ball. They want to run the bases. We want to get the listing, right? Like we just want to get it. But the reality, again, these guys don't hit and don't get on base as often as they want to. So because they're young and we've got to teach them this stuff right now, they're walking away from the plate depressed. They're upset. Their head is down. They're upset they didn't get on base, or they hit the ball and the guy caught the ball and it bothers them. So what I did last night when Vladdy came up, and I've said this to the team before, and I brought it up to Joshua again last night, I said, look at his stats. And he looks at his stats and said 336. I think that was the number. Now, if anybody here knows baseball, 336 as a batting average is actually a great batting average. That means that every sort of 3.5 times you go up to bat, you're getting on base. But it also means that you're failing twice as much.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the key. And that's what I'm bringing up right now is that in baseball, when they're hitting at a 30% rate, whatever it is, they got a wonderful average. They're some of the best in the game. Mm-hmm. When we look in sales, there's always been this kind of number where we go, look, if you could be batting 20%, you were on fire as a salesperson. Mm-hmm. Right. So for anybody here, if your numbers are higher than that, like seriously, give yourself a big pat on the back.
Absolutely.
Right. For anybody that is in those numbers or below, recognize that again, at 20, that's actually a really good number. So even if you're below that, you're not doing anything wrong. The point is, are you stepping up to the plate? Are you getting out there and swinging? Are you trying? Because if you're not, you cannot expect to get the hit every time you walk up to bat. No. So I love what you just said there. Like you can't go into it thinking this is the last time I'm going to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You put way too much pressure on yourself and it shows through the conversations that you're having with people. So I think that's, and again, as you said, you have to start reaching out to people in order to set these appointments, in order to go on to the listing presentations, in order to fail and learn and then hit a home run the next time. So it's all like connected, right? But if you're just going on 5 listing presentations in a year, you're not going to have the experience and the knowledge and just the confidence to go into those, because then you'll be acting as if this is like 1 of 5. I need to get this or I'm screwed. So, just keep putting yourself out there.
So now when you say doing that, we call it building mind share. Mm-hmm. How much time do you spend in your day focused, let's say, on your contact list versus, say, prospecting for like brand new business or even follow-ups with existing clients? And right. I'm gonna really put a hard line between contact list. And when I say existing clients, I'm talking like your active sellers, active buyers. Let's say right. Active is the key word there.
Yeah, I'd say half and half, like half my days reaching out to like past clients or just like people in my database. And then the other half is dealing with, current clients, mm-hmm. what their searches are, taking them out on showings, all of that kind of stuff. So, if you can try to put that into like one group, like in the morning, if you can reach out, have half your day. And I know a lot of agents do that. And I think it's brilliant, like 9 to noon, that's when you've blocked it off, and then appointments afterwards. But if you can really hone in on that time and just really focus, don't like put your phone down, turn off your notifications, just start picking up the phone or sending them text messages or however you want to reach out to people and have those connections. And I guarantee you, at the end of the day, you're going to feel a heck of a lot better, because not only have you done what you said you were going to do, but you've had real conversations with people. And in this day and age, when we're not connecting as well with people, that makes you feel pretty good. You just as a person, right? And I'm sure that makes the person that you spoke with feel pretty good as well. So that's
you
kind of
sound like me.
You know what? I have to admit, David, I've listened to quite a few of your podcasts, and I know we connect on a very close level when it comes to like our values and that. So, and our agents share your podcast episodes all the time amongst each other. It's awesome. So yeah. No,
that's why I was so excited to get together with you today on this one. Because I know that even watching a lot of the stuff you're doing with the podcast and going through the content and going, like, it's such a similar page, right? And the message. And anyways, so tell me this then, what are some of the, I guess, daily non-negotiables that you have as part of your, call it, system and process?
Mm-hmm. I think number one, it's the connecting again. Now that I'm a broker of record, my business, I'm not as active in real estate. It's more about connecting with my agents. So if I know they have something going on, I'm making sure I'm keeping notes of that and just following up with them, just checking in to see how they're doing. So that connection piece. And as a realtor, it goes back to your database and just having those conversations. Just going to say. So that's a non-negotiable, 100%. And then, the rest is just it kind of falls into place. Like, I try to work a little bit on the business, like the systems, trying to refine that part of things a little bit, whether it's, putting like an email campaign together that you've been wanting to work on for a while, but just like an hour, just work on that for just a little bit. It doesn't have to consume your entire day, but if you've got the plan in place, then just kind of start breaking it down little by little and working on that every day. And I find that really helps me keep things going and just strengthen the business.
Well, there it comes back to the consistency, right? Those tiny little things that we do every day, but it's those tiny little things we do over a longer period of time that then get us to that point where, hey, you've built your machine.
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't tinker and we don't adjust and we don't oil it or fix parts or whatever, but we've built the machine because of these little things that we do. And it's a very similar process that I explain with my clients that when we're working, especially one-on-one, is, really to look at, okay, find your rhythm, right? Yeah. Where are you better at that? Where are you not so good? Yeah. What times of the day do you excel at that, right? And really looking at again, where does it work best for me and what am I really, really good at? And kind of front loading some of that stuff maybe. But then again, determining, phone calls and the other stuff. I mean, the way we build mindshare, that's what I want to ask you as well, like around the question of, where we talk about an email campaign.
Yeah.
And it's putting something out, only work on it for an hour in the day. I'm so with you on that so we can get through other things. Mm-hmm. But in the bigger picture of, marketing your business, branding your business, what are you guys? What are some of the things that you guys do? And I know that we've said it, like connect with your clients, right?
Yeah.
But there's also going to be some marketing in the background, I guess, that you're doing and some things that you do for brand building. Yeah. What are some of those channels that you're using to, again, help you build mindshare consistently?
Our podcast, are you talking about more as a realtor or as a brokerage owner?
I guess maybe if I said to you, Katie, you're waking up in the morning and you've got this brand called On The Block.
Yeah.
What are you doing to build mindshare?
100% the podcast. We're just sharing as much as possible. Daniel, my husband and partner, and I are literally an open book. Like, we will provide anybody with any advice that they're looking for. And I think there's so many of us out there that are of similar mindsets because everybody does things a different way. So just because I do an email campaign one way does not mean if I share it with somebody else that's not even in our brokerage, they're going to take it and put their own spin on it. So I think that that's brilliant. And the fact that you can get ideas from others in this industry who have tried that before can really go a long way and will just really enhance your business. So from a branding perspective, it's taken time, to be honest, because
of course
I think it's just putting myself out there on social media, through stories, through my Facebook posts, and just being really real and authentic. And it's not all about real estate. It's about the fact, like, I just went through actually a journey in surrogacy for one of my best friends. And I was a surrogate for her. And everybody in the realtor community that I'm connected with was following along with that and keeping in touch with me and just seeing how I was doing. So it's not all about just listed, just sold, that kind of stuff. It's about, this is my life. These are my kids, because I'm comfortable sharing my kids as well. We just got a new puppy. So
yeah, there you go. I tell everybody, put the puppies up there.
Yeah. But I mean, and then people see that and they want to connect with you on a much deeper level than just business. And that's where I think that's where my branding starts coming out, because they see me as somebody that's willing to share, willing to be open and just vulnerable with the things I'm putting out there, because then people can connect with that a lot better than just somebody that appears to be, I don't know, just doing things like business wise and has no personal life.
I've asked the question. I mean, the questions come up to me many times before, like, I don't know what to post. I'm not really sure why anybody would care. Yeah. I don't know what's so important about me. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, do you scroll social? Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. It's like Netflix.
Yeah. Why?
Stories. Like, honestly, I could spend a whole hour on stories just watching people.
That's the thing. And so at some point we get there and it becomes habitual. It becomes just programmatically. Programmatically. Wow. I can't speak today. Anyways, it just becomes part of what we do. Tried to use a bigger word, but that didn't work. But realistically, people go in there half the time we don't even know why. So the reality is get out there and do something, right? Talk about the puppy. Talk about anything that's personal. It doesn't need to be business related. Or again, remember, people are trying to connect with you as a person.
Yeah. So, and I'll just add to that quickly, like, even though you might not get a lot of engagement on it, like not a lot of responses on your story or on your post, it doesn't mean you're not actually reaching people and not actually having an impact on them. And if you're putting something motivational out there, somebody might not comment, but it does make a difference in their life. And so just keep putting things out there and you'll be amazed at what comes back to you, or how down the line in like 3 months' time, somebody reaches back out to you and said, like, I saw what you posted a couple months ago. It really had an impact on me. That's what it's all about. And so, yeah.
You know how often I get that from people where it's like, you know, you'll send out an email blast and all of a sudden you get a reply from somebody. They're like, David, I read every single one of your emails. It's so motivational. And the first things going through your mind are like, I don't even know who you are. like, really? That is so cool. You've been reading everything, but you've never said anything to me before.
Exactly. I know.
We will often, because we don't get immediate gratification.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you, Google, Amazon, and Facebook, right? Because we don't get immediate gratification, we look and go, I don't think it's working.
Yeah.
Hey, you did it once today. Guess what? You got to do it again.
Yeah.
And again, and then again, and again. Did we mention consistency yet today? Tell me this. One of our Mindshare Masters asked a question from our private VIP room here. He wants to know, his name is Ken. He wants to know, does Katie have a certain number that she shoots for to connect with each person each year? So if I understand that correctly, you've got a contact in your database. And again, as our Mindshare Masters, we talk a lot about this stuff. And I tell everybody it's very much about the gut check, right? You've got to know who kind of is the person.
Yeah.
But do you have a specific number that says, if I got David in my database, he's going to be touched X amount of times this year?
Yeah, if it's just somebody that's in my database that I know that's not like somebody that's ready to buy or sell, if it's like a client that just closed on their home or just somebody that I put in my database, I'd say at least every quarter I'm reaching out to them personally, whether it's providing them with just like a Zoom video of like the market report for their area. I find clients really, really love that. Go on Zoom, do a screen share, do like a little like 1 to 2 kilometer radius of their neighborhood and just say, this is your quarterly report. My clients love that. And they just want to know what's going on in the business. And then from a non-business perspective, like any opportunity I have, like International Women's Day, for example, I'm like, you know what? I have so many amazing, strong women that I've worked with in the past. I'm going to send them all out like a personal card and just, you know, because that's a really important, I guess, holiday or something. That's really important.
I know Alex Lombardi, who's on here right now in our VIP room as well. She's sitting there going, yeah, tell me more.
Yeah. I mean, and so I got so much response from the women that I connected with. And like, it's just, you know, especially women, let's lift each other up for goodness sake, and just give each other kudos for what we're doing in our business and in life. And there's so much going on, and everybody needs that. But I think as women, we really need to have that connection with each other, and it's so important to me. So that's just an example. But you know, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever it is, like there's so much you can do every single month.
Birthdays, like there's life events, like when you pay attention to people and you start to realize, I mean, look, everybody knows it. I'm not going to shy away from this one. And if you don't know it, you don't know me. But the reality is when the Leafs do something really good, that's like a holiday for me. You know what I mean? Like you can leverage that with me. Yeah. You know, Matthews is on the brink of 40 goals. Come on. You know, I'm glued to the TV. You can totally talk to me about these. And that I consider that a life event for me. Okay. So anyways, but tell me this too.
I just want to add in, try to get your clients following you on Facebook and Instagram, because that's another opportunity to quickly connect with somebody every day. Like then it becomes a little bit more natural. You still have the quarterly to make sure they don't fall off their mind, but that's another way too.
No, I like it. I had a great thought there. So to piggyback on that, then, you know, many people don't feel that they know enough people and that they always need to be expanding their network. And I'm not against that. Like expand your network every day for sure. Work on that. We talked about a few ideas on that right off the top, a little bit kind of, but I want to go a little bit deeper. What channels do you suggest that people leverage in order to meet more people? And I'm going to say thick of things in COVID right now.
Yeah. Great question. First of all, I just want to make one point. So I find what we do in this industry is we focus on getting the people that we don't know and don't appreciate the people that we do have in our database.
I'm going home. That's it.
No, but it's.
I love it. I love it.
Even when we get a listing, you get a listing. This is awesome. This is going to be great. Okay, where's my next listing? Why am I not getting any more business? Like focus on what you have in front of you. You have a database. I'm sure all of you have at least like a couple hundred people. Leverage that. Don't go chasing strangers. Like, come on. Anyway, so that was
my cheeks are hurting now.
But in terms of connecting with people, so I don't know if anybody's on Nextdoor right now. It is an app. It really took off in the States. It is a community app, very similar to like a Facebook, but neighbors in your community are on there. In my area, it's grown like crazy. And it's an opportunity, especially if you're taking a community approach where you want to work where you're living. This is the perfect opportunity to start connecting with people, neighbors, and just, again, having conversation, talk about what's going on in the neighborhood. And eventually everything leads back to real estate.
Check that out. Sorry. Yeah. Morella in our Maestro Masters room just said, I love Nextdoor and just got a purchase and sale from the app. Morella, thanks for sharing that. There you go. Cool. That's very cool. Now, okay, I'm going to ask you both then. Can you set up a group within Nextdoor? Like, can you go, you can, eh? Can you become the community leader?
Yes. So I set up a local business group, as well as when last year, like a COVID support group. So anybody that needed help in the neighborhood that might've been in quarantine, if you need help from your neighbors to pick up something at the grocery store, that's what we're there for. And then you have the ability. So what's great about Nextdoor is that they want you to grow your community. So they send you out, they allow you to send out invitations for free to the neighbors. So it's a mailer and it has your name on it. It's not branded, but then the moment that person adds themselves into Nextdoor, then you get like 100 more invitations to send out to even more neighbors. So, and then you get notified when those people go into Nextdoor and set up a profile. And then that's when I'll reach out to them and say, hey, it's great that you've joined the neighborhood. If you ever need anything, please feel free to reach out. And that's it. So that's a great way.
That is very cool. I haven't used it. But my mind is racing with the opportunities that you could get out of it.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of our agents actually just mentioned that now Facebook is starting to create more community groups. And I don't know if that's in response to Nextdoor, but that might also be another area if you want to stick to more of a Facebook, like that platform, that might be something that takes off. And as an agent, if you can get in on the ground floor of something like that, that's huge because then you're going to just build yourself up from there.
Well, again, you talk about, building your brand in the community. You talk about getting out there with people.
Yeah.
There's a big step to that. If you can leverage the invitations, create the community, be the catalyst behind it. Yeah. Oh my God, when you would talk about mindshare. So now talking about community then, and again, I did a lot of sort of looking around through the Level Up podcast. And I saw that you mentioned something about farming. And I wanted to ask you a question about that and just say, or ask, do you believe in farming? And either way, what it would be the keys to making it actually work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that's a great strategy if that's something you want to take, but that has to be your main focus. You can't say, yeah, I want to be a community, like in the community. And then I also want to be over here doing pre-construction and then over there doing investment properties for certain people. It's got to be like an overall approach. And there's so much opportunity that can go into a geographic farm. You could do a podcast and talk to local businesses in the area, then do a quick little market recap at the end or something along those lines. Like that could be a great way to grow your audience. Nextdoor is another one, Facebook, just You could do postcards if you want. I know there's still a lot of agents out there that make a very good bit. It's funny. My kids actually, he's almost like a celebrity. There's this one agent in our area that consistently puts out postcards, and he has for sale signs too. And every time they see him, it's like, oh, look, there he is again, so it's that association.
Question then. Okay. Sorry. Does that guy ever come and knock on your door to introduce himself?
He used to. So maybe after COVID, he might. Okay. But yeah. So
before COVID, he did though.
He did a little bit. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, I asked that question because I've said the same thing. Like we've got the two celebrity ladies in our area.
Yeah.
Totally separate from each other.
Right.
I would call them the celebrity ladies because quite frankly, they're postcards and billboards and bus benches. They're everywhere all the time. Sandwich boards open, you name it. Right.
Yeah.
But they've never introduced themselves. Ever. So it's almost like, I see that you're out there, but I'm going to go to somebody I know. We've already established that, right? Exactly. So it's almost like if you're going to put the effort into that, then make sure you turn around and give the effort back to it.
Yes.
To go and
absolutely. No, I think if you're going to go buy a billboard and think that you're going to have 500 people in the community call you, you're absolutely wrong. Yeah. If you want to use that just as an additional part of your marketing, then sure, go for it. But you need to have an established brand before people start making an association with that big face on the billboard with the activity and what you're doing at the community level. Okay.
So then go to the online lead thing, which we brought up off the top as well. And let's go back to that for a second and go, okay, online leads. Yes, there's some people that love it and do well with it. Yep. You mentioned it's not your jam. What's the thought? Like, I don't know if this is a question or maybe a thought. I mean, what is your thoughts on it? I would say to you that I think it's very much the same as to the billboard we just said. If you think you're going to put up a billboard and just everybody's going to flock to you, even if it's in your community, it's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm of the exact same mindset when it comes to running a Facebook ad. If you think that you're just going to put a Facebook ad up and, my Facebook strategy is now under control, I'm good. Again, you got another thing coming.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. No, it's one of those things that it has to be in addition to other marketing that you're doing, it's got to be a complement to your overall strategy. It can't be the be all and end all. No matter how much money you put into a Facebook campaign, it's not going to have that same impact. And I don't think you're going to enjoy it. I don't think you're going to enjoy the people that reach out to you, because a lot of the people that are reaching out to, when I was doing online leads, was just people just wanted the information. They didn't want to talk to me. They didn't want to have anything to do with a realtor. They wanted everything for free. And it was I just can't connect with anybody. So that's why I stopped doing it. And I just went back to, nurturing my database and just keep the contacts going. And that's it. And
it seems to be working for you.
Yeah.
And probably costs you a lot less money.
Yeah.
But the 100%. ROI is way up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So here, how about your podcast? I mean, obviously we both enjoy doing podcasts, but you've actually got a podcast. And again, if anybody hasn't caught me saying it, the Level Up podcast. So make sure you guys follow her and subscribe to it. But, it's part of your mindshare strategy. Yeah. It's part of your content strategy. Why should people be thinking content strategy if they want to have a better online strategy for their business?
So in terms of online content or just
I'm going, you came up with a podcast, you're on social media, you're putting content out there to the world. And we talked about it doesn't necessarily need to be real estate, but this now gives us the online when people want to go find us. Why did you start the podcast?
Yeah. I mean, it's just an ability to show people who you are, to leverage. And there's so much you can do with just taking things down into small clips. If you want to put it out on YouTube, if you're doing the video as well as the podcast, or you just want to put a quick, Instagram story or a reel up, you can use all of that content and repurpose it for a whole lot of other things. So it's not just one thing that you're putting out. It can be multiple ways of getting out there to different audiences. And it's easy because you've just got that, the one piece of content that you're kind of breaking down and doing things with. So, I think whatever you put out there is good. Don't overthink it. Don't try to make it perfect. And just go with it. Like, I feel like it's better just to like put it out and then put your phone down, stop, like keep refreshing, like we all do. Right. Because then move on to other things. Like, definitely having an online presence is important, but it shouldn't be what you're focusing on every single day, like 24 hours a day thinking of that. It's just, you're going to get sucked down this bad path of just not connecting with anybody and just not getting any business, in my opinion.
I think that is a very, very good point you just made, is how much, and again, it goes right back to even the email campaign you talked about, like spend your hour, but then move on because you got other things to do. It's the same thing with the social, right? So what about video? Like with the spot that we're all in right now, how much weight do you put on video to build mind share for your brand right now? And what are some of the little things that maybe you're doing with video that you're finding either work or don't work, or I don't know, just what's your thing on video right now?
Yeah, I think video is very important. It allows people to really see who you are, especially when you're talking at the screen and just sharing your experiences and just letting people know what you're up to in a day. So I do think it's a very important part of establishing a personal brand for yourself, and I would encourage it. There's a lot that can be done, a lot of fun things, like Reels is a really fun part of Instagram right now. And if you can kind of show your fun side, no matter what, it could be a new listing or it could just be you giving your dog a walk. But there's so much to that, people will really be drawn into and just seeing what you're up to. So play around with it and try not to make it so perfect. And like, it doesn't have to be in a studio. It doesn't have to be professionally edited. Just put it out there. People prefer the raw, unedited versions of yourself than they do the perfect person you're trying to make yourself out to be.
It's so true. We love the rawness better than the polish, right?
Yeah.
What about Zoom? Speaking of rawness, I mean, how often people are like, oh, I didn't come on camera because, I didn't do my hair, I didn't do my makeup, or I'm really actually scrolling Facebook and I'm not actually listening to you. But no. Do you think that when it comes to Zoom meetings, do you think that there's an importance to everybody having their camera on to be able to connect with the other people? Do you think it's is there a benefit to doing that? Is it whatever? Who cares? To each their own? Just again, when it comes to like connecting with people, what's your take on like when you're part of a bigger Zoom meeting, having your camera on versus off?
I think your camera should be on. It's so important because people need to see how you're reacting to them and how you're reacting and vice versa. So if you can put your camera on, I completely think that's key. I do think that right now, because a lot of us are dealing with kids at home and just, interruptions, there might be times where you do have to turn your camera off, which I do get. But for the most part, if you can be present, because that shows that you're being present and in the moment. I know, and I've done this before. I'll sign up for events that are being done through Zoom, and then I'll be doing work while this event is going on, thinking I'm actually getting anything out of the seminar that's taking place. I'm not. It's just noise in the background. So pick and choose the areas where you want to be on these online seminars, because there's so many out there. Like there's the Buzz Conference, who does so many amazing, day long conferences, and they're so great. But if you're not going to be present for it, you're just not going to get anything out of it. And it's going to be a waste of time. So pick and choose, because there's so many out there. So try not to inundate you. I think that's one thing that we as realtors get really confused with, is that there's just so much out there for us. So what is your strategy? And does that particular seminar or Zoom meeting align with the strategy you have for your business? If it does, go be present, get everything out of it that you possibly can, and then move on with your day. But try not to take your whole day up with Zoom calls and seminars and all this learning, because at some point you're going to have to actually start implementing, as opposed to just taking all the knowledge in. And so again, it has to align back with how you want to run your business and the strategy you have for yourself.
I like that. And I would, I'd look and say, I want to ask you, what about agent to agent business? Because we've talked about contacts, we've talked about people we know.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of power in creating the agent to agent connection. Absolutely. That being said, there's a lot of people that get very caught up in these, realtor Facebook groups. And as we just said, they spend their entire day in these realtor Facebook groups trying to see, hey, what is everybody going to think about my post? And what's everybody going to think when I ask this question? What's everybody going to say when I ask this question? How are people going to react? And what bullshit can what can I take part in terms of conversations? Like, go back to work, do what you got to do, get in and get out. But
exactly,
there's something to be said about the agent to agent connection. And then as we talk about the Zoom, there's something to be said about when you're on these things, show your face, right? Because now you're giving other people the ability to go, hey, look who it is. Look who's there. Look, they're paying attention. Let's involve them in the conversation. Wow. There could be 5 people. There could be 500 people on that call. You are now going to be one that's building mindshare. You are going to get better known from people. So I guess, maybe in the overall, not just Zoom and camera, but any tips you've got for people when it comes to like agent to agent communication?
Yeah. There's so much there. The Facebook groups are great from the perspective that you can connect with people. And if you can share your knowledge about your particular market, I think that can be really powerful for everybody. And just for them to see that you're active in your market, you're knowledgeable. So the moment one of their friends or colleagues says, I'm looking to move to Vaughan, for example, they think of you, right? Because you've shared your knowledge out there, done the mind share, and they're gonna talk to you. So I love the referral part is really important. And I know there's a lot of agents out there that have built such a strong referral network for themselves. So that's really great. And then just when you're dealing with agents one-on-one on a deal, you're not against each other. You should be working together. And please just it is so amazing when you reach out to an agent, they actually answer their phone. They actually want to work with you to make this deal happen, rather than somebody that refuses to answer their phone, will only talk through text, and will give you one-word answers, and they're less than helpful in trying to piece the deal together. So be that first person, and you'll find that the relationships and the trust you have between each other is going to really benefit your clients as well. Because a lot of times I'll go into a negotiation with another agent, and if I don't have trust for them, that plays off into how my client perceives everything that's going on, and it might turn them off of wanting to do a deal. So it really plays all into each other. So try to be that respectful agent and have that professionalism, because it's just going to work really well for you. And the other thing is, when you are professional, if they know you through Facebook groups, it makes it so much easier when you know them and you know their reputation already. And so that you're like, okay, we're good. Let's start working together. And there's been times where agents I've been working alongside have told their own clients, you know what, I know Katie well, we're on Facebook together, and I know that she's a really professional agent, and that helps their client to see where we're coming from with a deal or an offer or whatever it is. So
a golden answer. You walked, right into that for me. That was awesome. Yeah, no, I couldn't have asked for a better answer on that. I think that, because you hit it on the head, right? The communication, that one-line answer, that lack of communication, again, instill confidence in the person on the other end. Work together for it. Put your best foot forward. Open yourself up for a long-term referral opportunity, right? There's so many good things that come out of this. So switching gears on that then, as we sort of taper off here, crazy market. Do you think it'll last? Some are saying bubble, others saying no. What say you?
I have my crystal ball.
I know. I'm not expecting I'm not holding you to it. Don't worry. Just curious. It's wild. It seems like buyers are starting to get fatigued. Yeah. We're seeing a slow on that end. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think things are gonna. I think in certain markets it's going to continue to be pretty crazy, just because of the price point they're at and where buyers are looking, because buyers don't need to be downtown or in the city anymore. They can go out to these other areas and spend a little bit less. So I think for those areas, we'll continue to see much more activity. But I do think things will start to slow down a little bit, level out for areas that were within the Greater Toronto area. And I've seen that in certain pockets already of the city. And I think that'll just kind of, it'll be a little bit up and down, but I definitely don't see the market crashing or anything like that. It's all about supply. We do not have enough supply to meet the demand. And I don't know if we ever will. And until that happens, the market's going to remain strong. I have no concern about that. Knock on wood.
Okay, no, I'm with you. And so from a pricing strategy, then are we still, we've seen some people price really, really low to like drive it really, really high. We've seen people price it really, really high to try to drive it really, really higher. Yeah. And we've seen other people who say, no, price it at what it should be priced at.
Yeah.
What is just the overall consensus maybe from everybody that kind of goes, yeah, when we're seeing that, we know what you're trying to do, we're going to stay away? Or
yeah,
where would you go with that? Like price it to what it's got to be priced at? Or are we still trying to kind of play this thing a little bit?
It's so hard. And I know the media is like killing us right now because they think we're trying to pull all of these shenanigans and it's all our fault that prices are out of whack and all that kind of stuff. So I think severely underpricing a house. If a home is valued at 200, a certain price and you price it 200,000 below what it's valued at, that's dumb, and stop doing that. Because especially in COVID, you're bringing people through a house that are probably not qualified to even buy it. And you're being irresponsible. So we are all professionals. We know how to do comparables. We know how to look at value. But on the other side of the story value is very subjective. Mm-hmm. We can say what we think a home is valued at based on the comparables that we're looking at, but a house is valued at what somebody's willing to pay for it. So if somebody thinks that house is worth $50,000 more of what you're pricing it at, that's what it's worth to them. So even if we do price at a more reasonable level, it's not to say that people are going to bid it up and try to try to pay even more for it. So I do think that there's an advantage to different strategies. I just am not a big fan of people really underpricing houses because that's when we start getting into trouble. And that's when the media starts to pick up on it and then jumps all over us for being irresponsible and not serving buyers as well as we should. So,
but you bring up a great point too. When you go way too low, you are now going to open up that door for people that are not going to buy that home to want to walk through that home with almost false hope that they're going to get that home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? And now you're just bringing too much traffic through. So I really, really like that point. My favorite question lately. Mm-hmm. How do you know that it's been a successful day for you? I hate to be a broken record, but that connection piece, if I'm able to connect and help at least one of the agents in my brokerage every single day, that is a good day for me because I feel like I've actually had an impact on somebody else's life. It maybe not one of my agents, maybe my kids, it's hard. There's days, honestly, I feel like I hate my kids, but I don't. I love them, but I hate them at the same time. But if I can have a moment with one of them where we have a connection, where I'm not staring at my computer or my phone and I'm actually having a one-on-one conversation with them. And I try to do that as much as possible. But if I do that in a day and I recognize that they appreciate it, it makes it such a great day. The other thing is just having my morning routine. I need to get up and I need to work out and I need to listen to like the Mindshare podcast or whatever audiobook I'm listening to now, and just to zone out for a bit to start my day in the right mind frame and then let the chaos begin. So yeah, those are the two. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of all ages and platforms, did you hear the 4-letter word that she used when I said, how do you know it's been a successful day? No, it wasn't the 4-letter word called money. No, it's not 4 letters. It wasn't about doing deals. No, it wasn't the deal. It was the word help. Mm. And Katie, I say that all jokes aside for a moment, I've asked that question a number of times now over the past number of months. Mm-hmm. And I do it very purposely because the more I read and the more I listen and the more I learn from you and everybody else that's out there, people that have done it, and I'm talking successful, when you ask about what does success look like, there's not a person that tells you about how many deals they did. There's not a person that tells you about how much money they made. None of that comes into the equation. Yeah. It's always comes back to that word help, and you used it. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
Last words or tips that you could share with everybody that is tuned in live or through anybody that's listening after the fact on iTunes and everywhere else, so that they can get out there and build some more mindshare for themselves.
I mean, connect with people in your brokerage, or get a group of people that you can start connecting with. If you don't have anybody right now, this industry can feel very lonely sometimes, especially these days. So if you aren't having, if you don't have a group of people that are surrounding you, that are building you up, that you're able to share your successes as well as the things that don't go your way in a day, that is really powerful. So if you need that, reach out to me. I'm happy to chat with you. And I know there's so many other groups out there like that as well. So just join one and start being social and learn and grow.
Speaking of connecting with you, where can people connect with you?
I mean, Instagram's great. At Katie.Steinfeld is where I'm at, or I'm on Facebook. Yeah, those are the best places, I'd say. Amazing.
Katie, I want to thank you for all the awesomeness that you are bringing to this industry. You are doing so many amazing things that are not just isolated to your brokerage or your company. But there's so many things you're doing on a bigger level that everybody sees. And on behalf of myself, thank you for the time for the show today. On behalf of, I guess, everybody, I'd say thank you for everything you're doing for the industry. It's been awesome. And I've truly enjoyed this conversation today. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I was like, I'm a longtime listener, but now I'm like a guest. I'm like, it's great. Thank you.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you downloaded our free Industry Syndicate podcast app, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve, and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget our Push to 100 is on. So be sure to please go to iTunes, subscribe to the show, rate us, and leave a review. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan101. I want to once again thank Virginia Munden and the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference by visiting their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, or by following them on Instagram at The Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all the awesome events they are always hosting, including 3 great ones coming up. I want to once again thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems for also sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my website, mindshow101.com, and click on marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.